It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. You know, there's like 90-something sunrises and we'll be in the year 2022. Every time the calendar's getting ready to change into a new year, it reminds me of something that happened back in 1999. And those of you that are as old as me, you'll remember it. Let me get on my Sharp interactive board, pull up the slide. Y'all remember Y2K? Y2K. I mean, back in 1999, the whole world thought at midnight, December 31st, all the planes would fall out of the sky, the entire power grid would collapse, every computer in the world would break, the world would be back in the Stone Ages. Y2K. Of course, none of that shit happened. The world spent billions of dollars to prevent something that never happened. But here's what I'm thinking did happen. With regards to all of our OEM friends in the Document Imaging channel, these Print OEM manufacturers, you know what they did? I'm convinced of this. The more I think about it, I bet I'm right. I hope they chime in and tell me if I'm right. But I'm thinking back in 1999, these folks went out and hired the smartest people in the world around technology. And they said, you gotta prevent us from falling apart midnight, December 31st, 1999. You gotta keep us safe in 1999. But these really smart technology people, they didn't quite comprehend it. They just heard them say, hey, keep us safe in 1999. And they did such a fantastic job. They kept all these OEMs in 1999, even 20 years later, they're still there. I mean, seriously. They won. They did a fantastic job. But here's the reality, OEMs. It's time to fire all those executives that made you safe in 1999. It's time to bring in some new human capital that can actually help you deliver the future to your present day customer. Because, folks, we can't continue to deliver the past. Who would have imagined 20-something months into a global pandemic, I could show all these OEMs logos on my board and not be talking about the consolidation? I should be talking about how the merger between Ricoh and Kyocera is going great. I should be talking about how Konica Minolta got rid of all of their direct operations and they're finally making a profit, just being an OEM. I should be talking about how Canon followed suit and Canon got out of all their direct operations and formed other relationships with other OEMs. I should be talking about how Epson is now the ink manufacturer for another OEM. I should be talking about how the Toshiba conglomerate exited out Toshiba Tech. Do you see what's going on, folks? We're not talking about any of those things. Because the folks back in 1999 did a fantastic job keeping all the OEMs in 1999. I'm begging all my OEM friends as we move into 2022, we've got to change the game. We've got to change the game, folks. We can't just keep doing press releases about our digital transformation process. These press releases, you know what? Key Point Intelligence and BLI, you got some fantastic opportunities ahead of you. You can start giving all the OEMs awards for the best press release about their digital transformation. I mean, you don't actually have to give them an award for actually accomplishment of digital transformation. Just give them an award for the press release announcing that they're going to do it. Folks, a little sarcasm today, but come on. What the hell are we doing? What are we actually doing? You know, there's one organization on here, and I'm going to get my Sharp interactive board working. I'm going to circle them. You probably know who I'm going to circle because, folks, I talk about them a lot. And they're on my platform. Is Xerox. Think about it. All these other folks are talking about digital transformation. Xerox buys an augmented reality company, which gets a $10 million investment from ServiceNow. CareAR, they're talking about AI. They just did a deal with Verizon for 5G technologies around their augmented reality and AI platform. Folks, Xerox split the company up into 3 different organizations. Their finance business, their software business, their innovation business. What are these other folks actually doing? Well, we have a new digitalization program for our end users, with every single buzzword you could possibly imagine thrown into a press release, which means absolutely nothing to the end user. You know what? Maybe I'm just the hard ass with the OEMs. Who knows? I know the OEMs don't want to have a future that ends, right? We know the OEMs want to prosper and they want to help their dealer friends prosper. But what are they willing to do about it? What are they willing to talk about? Remember, Rico? We're going to get more of our revenues from services outside of print. The whole world went crazy, so all the other OEMs are saying, oh shit, don't say things like that. If you say stuff like that, you're going to have to run around and tell everybody you made a mistake. Folks, making the mistake is staying in status quo. Making a mistake is not saying anything. Making a mistake is trying to figure out who can come out with the best press release around digital transformation without actually accomplishing any digital transformation. I'm hoping like hell when we get into the new year, just 90-something sunrises away from today, that I can in fact pull up this board with all these logos and start talking about some things that are relevant. That are relevant to all of the dealers out there's continuous relevance. I'm hoping we're not talking about more of the status quo. Surely it's not just going to be Xerox that disrupts the marketplace. Folks, there's a lot to think about in today's video, but the reality of it is this. We're not going back to 1999. Maybe it's time we brought in some new human capital to get us to the year 2025. Just something to think about, my friends, and I'll see you all tomorrow, because we all know this. Status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.